Focus today is going through the training and the conference that took place a couple of weeks ago. And for the people who were there, any of the takeaways that you brought back, we're going to go through mainly Wednesday and the different areas and any takeaways that you have that you can share with any of your peers that weren't able to make it to conference. And so it's just going to be a very open, casual conversation. If anyone has questions about anything, please feel free to unmute yourselves. If you want to raise your hands, go ahead, or again, just unmute and share your thoughts. So really just getting into it. The first part of the session, we brought in Lowell, who does a lot of training in this area with non-for-profit associations within leadership. And the first part was about building meaningful relationships. And we went through several different activities about different ways to build relationships, to get people comfortable with doing things. And I just wanted to get kind of your feedback if anybody plans on bringing any of those activities to any of your events or working with it.
And I see my president-elect is here. I just saw her now. There she is. She's right underneath me on the Hollywood Squares. Ruth. And so we had our board meeting, that was only yesterday. It was like a lifetime ago already, but yesterday, and already brought something back from Lowell. So first, we had a plan to kind of renew our strategic plan prior to going to conference. And we thought we were just going to do like a facelift on it, you know, and just kind of pretty up some words. But instead, we're just going to blow it up and just start all over from scratch, and all new words and all new format. And a lot of that came from the ahas that we had sitting there with Lowell and feeling like he was talking to us when he was saying things. But one of the simple things that we've already done that we did yesterday at our board meeting was he made a comment about the nameplates on a table, that we all know our names. I know that my name is Jamie. I don't need my nameplate facing me to say that my name is Jamie, but that a more useful thing would be to maybe have your mission vision on the back of your nameplate, so that as you're making decisions, you're constantly faced with the reason and the ultimate goal of making that decision. And so yesterday, when everyone arrived here for our Ready for It in-person board meeting, because we're back in person, they walked in and they had new nameplates with our vision on the back of our current vision, which is going to get all rewritten anyway, but current vision on the back of their nameplates. And so small, simple, cost us, I don't know, half a pack of Avery tent cards. So what, $8 to do. And it was, I think, really effective. I think everyone took note of it for sure when they walked in. I don't know, Ruth, if you have any other comment about that, but I liked it because it just kind of made us remember why we're here and what we're doing. We then had a strategy meeting for our strategic plan. And a lot of what Lowell was talking about is definitely coming through from Ruth and I, for sure.
Yeah, I'll just add that it's so easy when you do your strategic plan to just put it on the shelf. Like, we did it, hooray, mission, vision, done. And this is a way to make it remain relevant because everyone's seeing it over and over and over again. And then when people are getting, kind of uppity in decision makings, to kind of have that vision and mission there right in front of you to say, like, this is why we're here, is really helpful. So that was a fun, easy takeaway from Lowell on Wednesday.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, go ahead, David.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I was a little bit late, so I apologize. My name is David Dahan. I'm president-elect for the Keystone chapter. I was at the annual conference, and one of the takeaways from Lowell, similar to what Jamie said, and there were a lot of great takeaways, but was an icebreaker exercise that we did. We've all been in a room together where, maybe we're new, whether it's a new member or, you're just going to a networking event, and it's kind of hard to kind of break in if you don't know anybody or you only know a few people. So I thought what was really interesting is, we all had name tags, right? Lowell said, take out, your name tag, turn it around. And one of the exercises we did was, he said, everybody write on the back of that name tag, ask me about, and then just fill in the blanks. So And I thought that was a great icebreaker. Asked me about my family because I got 2 kids, a dog, a wife. So, you know, there's a lot to talk about there. And I think it's always important to try to make that personal connection with somebody. And we started this year, our chapter started a member engagement committee, which I'm the chairperson of. And we appointed ambassadors to help us that when we have networking events, you know, to go up to the new members, introduce themselves and talk about the chapter and what CAI can offer. But I thought this was another interesting way to help people, you know, kind of enter the conversation. So I thought that was great. And, you know, we're looking forward to implementing.
Great, thank you, David. And that was a nice, easy one to do, right? Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, if I can follow up on what David said, because the thing that I most enjoyed about Lowell's presentation was, and I hate icebreakers, I'll just put that right out there. I hate them. But the 2 or 3 that we did with him, the one in particular, they were all very good and different. But the one that I like the most is, and I still have the yellow Post-it, you can see it here, it's been on my desk since I got back. He called it Brilliance in the Room. And I'm already planning to do this as an education session with managers and sell a sponsorship for it. And the concept is everybody got this big Post-it, yellow Post-it, and you wrote a question you had for the room. And I wrote, what is your advice on generating new revenue to meet the demands of growing expenses? So everybody writes a question on this big yellow Post-it, and then everybody gets up and walks around the room and looks at everybody else's questions. And if you have advice or an answer to someone's question, you write it on their Post-it. Or if you're just interested in that topic and you want the person to share that information and the answers with you, you put your name and your email address. I think I love the concept, and I think it would make for a really different education session at an event because it's not someone standing at a podium lecturing. So I really love that concept.
Andrea, go ahead.
Yeah, so we actually are going to use that same concept, but in a different way. We have our Made for Managers Day education conference coming up, and we are going to, for the first time, have a manager lounge where we've got a lot of feedback from our managers where they wanted to network with either their same type of manager, whether it's high rise or GM or portfolio or large scale, and also new managers being introduced and battling through the trade show of vendors. And so we were going to put a Post-it note so people could ask questions and get mentoring, not in real time, but they can come back and see all the different answers that more experienced managers can answer and give their contact information. And that way it doesn't have to be right at the very, at one time, but can be throughout the day, and they can come back and get that feedback.
Yeah, that's great. And you can even do something like that, virtually, even with Zoom has whiteboards now that you can keep open. So you could always throw up questions on there and share that out. So even in the virtual space, doing similar type of activities, I think would be great.
I was going to say, I'll say something to that. I do remember with the empathetic listening and the very fine line that it can be for, I don't remember what he called it, ignoring listening, like distracted listening, that you're not really engaging with your conversation. And we each had a partner that you like gave details to about a personal story, and that my partner and I've actually stayed in touch since then too. So definitely stuck with me about trying to be in tune with that empathetic approach.
Yeah, I thought that was a very helpful session too, because, we all have done it. You're talking to somebody, and some of the things that Will was pointing out was, looking past the person, you're looking at somebody else, and the person you're talking to may think that, oh, biding your time to go talk to somebody else or network with somebody else, and making eye contact and kind of just making sure you're listening to what they're saying, so you can respond and have a meaningful dialogue. So, I think it's just something we all need to be mindful of when we're having a discussion with someone, to make sure we're continuously engaged.
And I was the one who did the play acting with him on that. And I have to say, for me, it was really interesting to see how how I responded to it differently every time he was showing a different thing. So you could really feel it as somebody engaged in that kind of conversation, that it does make a difference.
You did a great job, Julie, ad-libbing.
Thank you.
I would say I don't know if in bringing it back to the chapter, and he kind of touched on this a little bit, but repeating back what you're hearing, right? So we had a roundtable with our managers of what they were looking for, and rather than trying to put my opinion out there, I was repeating back to them what I was hearing, so that I was being present to what they were saying and not trying to jump the gun and say, oh, but you really mean this, or something like that. So I can't remember if that was actually one of the tools he gave us or not, but it definitely helped in terms of giving them their voice, and especially for strategic planning and everything else that we do, you know, we're the vehicle, not the main lead on it, right? So how to be a leader and listen and give that feedback back to the people who are speaking.
For the people who weren't in attendance, do you have any questions for the people who were in attendance?
I would just say, like, anytime I go to conference, you know, it's not rocket science, but it just reminds you of some things that you can come back and do. So, you know, everyone I'm sure had one aha moment, right? The title of this, like, what is the one thing that you're taking back that you're super excited to try or to implement or refresh that hasn't already been talked about?
I have something to offer there, Cheryl. On the Thursday morning, the open discussion with Lowell, one of the things that he brought up and that we had a bit of a discussion about was a program impact matrix, I think he called it. And I'm really interested in that to help us gauge, you know, the impact of chapter programs. Are they successful or not, you know, using various metrics, not only attendance, but is it a financial success? So I'm interested in that. And I know, Kelly, I don't know if he gave you those resources yet, but he was going to share some sort of resource that we could use to adapt for that purpose.
Yes, so he shared a couple of resources. They're posted up into the Chapter Leader Toolkit that everyone has access to through the main CAI website. So all of you have access to that toolkit. You just sign into your CAI account and go to the chapters tab. And then on the left-hand side, you will see the Chapter Leader Toolkit. So if you go there, right at the top, there's resources from the conference, and that is one of those resources. We also released last year, just building on top of that too, a full chapter evaluation sheet. This is also in the toolkit as well, that can be broken down into what policies the chapter has to look at, all the way through your programming to your volunteers. So you can go through each of those different areas to kind of evaluate if they're filling the objective.
Tony, we as a chapter went through a process like that a few years ago. And so I have some resources that are a few years old, but also some, I guess, rollout advice if you're interested. Some people were very on board with it, and so it was, you know, a great process, but then other people viewed it as, you're trying to slash my programs. And so the kind of political side of it, I can share some insight with you on that if you're interested.
Yes, definitely. I'll follow up with you. Thank you, Cheryl.
Quick question for the president-elects who are on the call right now. Have you watched the online training videos yet?
What online training videos?
Yes, so
I did the training videos when I was president-elect, but it's showing that I haven't completed it for some reason.
okay. Thank you for letting me. I'll check into that if there's something that's not showing. But so all of you within your MyCAI account should have access to the online training videos. So as president-elect, we have micro-learning videos. The link was sent out in, I believe, the first couple of emails from, I'm not sure if it was Karen or Crystal or possibly even Emily that sent out a couple of those messages. But it's micro-learning videos, and it goes more into the nuts and bolts of CAI. So, you know, what's your role as president? What's the role of the president-elect, of the chapter executive director, those types of things. Each video is less than 7 minutes, but I want to say there's about 6 or 7 of them that are a part of this online portal that you can watch on your own for that. So if you don't have access to that, please let me know, and I'll be able to make sure that you've got access to those videos. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Kelly. It's open to anything beside like other sessions throughout, not just that. The first day was fantastic. Thank you so much. We felt so welcomed. It was just so comfortable. Everything we needed was right there. I got so much out of it overall, like the entire experience. But I would say for our chapter, you know, we really enjoyed meeting with our state. We thought that was really wonderful to be able to get together. And I think at that time, we were able to even make a plan that we can do that periodically and really kind of grow as a state together and help each other out. So that was wonderful. And we also, I don't know, I get brain freeze on these things, but now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I'm sorry. There was just so much. It was all rich. It was all full. Being there with everybody, getting excited about what we're going to do for our younger folks and how we're going to kind of bring them into the fold. I feel like we're just trying to get the ball rolling. We have the right CED, and you know, understanding better the difference between the strategic plan versus the mission statement. You know, that was really wonderful from Lowell. And one of the breakout sessions from the Friday morning was really impactful to me, and in seeing some of the CAMs that I get to go and see, because I visit with them, you know, as I'm making my calls, and they've had a lot going on and talking about manager burnout versus what really they might actually be facing depression, and talking about mental illness and how that was really important. In the month of May, it's the Mental Health Awareness Month. So it was nice to kind of discuss that. And that's it. CAI CAM Appreciation Day. Thank you. Thank you all for doing that. I think it's awesome. We get a chance to thank our CAMs. They really do so much. And we just want to show them some love. So we're going to use some of the resources that you sent out. We're going to do something for all of our CAMs. We're still trying to figure out how to, you know, get it to the CAMs that are part of a management group. And so I think our CED is working on that, but I don't know. I hope everybody's able to do something for your chapter for CAM Appreciation Day.
Yes, June 13th. And again, we've got materials for your CEDs. They have access to that in our Media Valet system. And please share with us with what your chapters are doing for that day specifically, so that we can help build this program for the future. I think that's really important. This is the first year. So it's kind of, you know, what should we do? What should we not do? How do we get people excited for this? And so please share with us. And also remember to use the hashtag so that we can also share what you're doing through our social media outlets as well. All right. Any last thoughts from anybody else, whether you were in attendance, not in attendance? All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. It was great to see so many familiar faces from conference and some new faces today that we haven't seen yet. Again, all the materials from conference in regards to training are on that chapter leader toolkit online that you have access to. You are also a part of the exchange group for presidents and president-elects. So please use that. Please ask questions to your peers. Please be involved. If someone asks a question, if you've got an answer, please respond to all so people can see that. It is also searchable too, if you want to see and go back and see past conversations or maybe past questions that have been asked. The other thing too, I just want to mention for our president-elects is that you will be invited to our president calls starting in June. So those are monthly. And we ask any of the presidents or president-elects if you want to participate, and it's open discussion where you throw out any question that you might have and discuss it with your peers. And then we also provide, little updates and things like that. Those are recorded, and so we do post them on our special YouTube page if you can't make it and you want to go back and watch those. We've got a couple, I think we had a couple of presidents on here. Did I see? Let's see, Nicole. Do you find those beneficial to participate in those calls?
Yes, I'm one of the loudmouths that usually has multiple questions ranging from everything from LAC to board questions to committee questions. But honestly, it's been huge. I highly recommend everybody taking part in them. It's just nice to hear, first of all, that you're not alone, because some of these things, sometimes you shake your head and you go, what in the world just happened here? And then to be able to get other perspectives from all different ends of the chapter the United States is just, it's huge and it's invaluable. So I absolutely highly recommend it.
Thank you, Nicole. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon or morning.
Thank you. Great to see everybody.
If you have any questions, please contact a member of the Chapter Relations team or emails chapterlearning@caionline.org.